Hi, I used to make YouTube videos, emphasis on the used to part. This video was initially going to serve as a bit of an explanation as to where I've been and what I've been doing in my year and a half away from this channel. However, thinking about what to write for this script forced me to confront why I stopped playing my favourite video game in the first place, and the underlying reasons behind that, as well as what drew me to it in the first place. So let's talk about it. I started playing Skyrim when I was 13 years old, a couple of years after it released. I immediately fell in love with the game. It was the first game I had played where I genuinely felt as though I could do anything. Exiting Helgen for the first time and spying the imposing arches of Bleakfall's Barrow in the distance, only to have the opportunity to delve inside the barrow and uncover its secrets, was insane to me. In RPGs I'd played previously, such scenery would have been little more than window dressing, but in Skyrim, if you could see it, you could explore it. My very active childhood imagination didn't need a second invitation. I became fully immersed in every aspect of the game. I enjoyed the prestige of assuming the role of Kingmaker in the Civil War, got my hands dirty in the seedy criminal underbelly of Riften. I do think I almost lived Skyrim in my first playthrough when I was 13. Games like Skyrim rely on what English poet Samuel Taylor Coleridge called the willing suspension of disbelief. In the case of playing role-playing games, especially open-world ones, the consumer has to be a willing participant in the consumption of that media, has to willingly forget that everything that they are doing as part of their experience, consuming that media, has been deliberately crafted to forge an emotional connection between the consumer and the game. From the perspective of the player, this involves pushing to the side anything within the game that compromises the authenticity of the gaming experience. In a video I uploaded 2 years ago, I talked about how Skyrim suffers from being too broad in its scope. Some questlines, such as the Civil War questline, suffer from a lack of attention to detail in places. This is an area where the player would have to not approach the game with a critical eye, and probably subconsciously, prioritise how the game makes them feel. I think the point I'm trying to get at here is that an active imagination really helps you as the player in extracting everything out of the Skyrim experience, and that was something I had. I loved reading when I was younger. I used to wake up about an hour before I had to get ready for school most days, so about 6 in the morning, get a pile of some of my favourite books, usually ones I'd read already, as strange as that may sound, and sit there, as the turn of phrase goes, hallucinating vividly at the pages. I also really liked creative writing, and probably a little under a year after I started playing Skyrim, I came across Fudge Muppet, then an Australian duo who made Skyrim builds. Now the groundwork was set for my channel. A couple of years further down the line, I finally bit the bullet and gave builds a try. They didn't get loads of traction, but still way more engagement than I could have anticipated, and that set me on the path to making YouTube videos, albeit sporadically, up until last year. I've never been that good at optimising builds. Instead, the strength of my build videos lay in their backstories. Having read a lot of lowbrow historical fiction when I was younger, I was particularly good at writing short action sequences that were interspersed within the narrative. Through 2017 and 2018, and then for the period of time in which I started making videos again in 2020 and the beginning of 2021, views were high, usually in the low thousands, so why did I stop? The thing is with games like Skyrim, is that you very much get out of the experience what you put into it. First off, my love of reading recreationally was dead and buried thanks to academia, and the nature of planning and executing a video was resembling university work far too much for me to consider it relaxing, instant gratification hobby like playing most video games. Part of this was that I had also grown older, and with age I found it increasingly difficult to suspend my disbelief when it comes to video games, been less able to immerse myself wholly in the experience. This was also around a time when I felt increasingly rudderless and directionless with where I am in life, and have absolutely no idea of what I want to do with my existence. So living vicariously through a video game character, gaining renown, settling down, getting married, building a house seems galling, more sad if anything than having any sort of satisfying catharsis to it. However, now 20 plus levels into this new playthrough that you're seeing on screen, I find myself nearly as engaged as I was all those years ago, and I've definitely been dipping in and out of the sort of immersion I was talking about earlier, but now, obviously with a lot more knowledge about how the game actually works. So yeah, I'm back. Well, I really enjoyed the process of making this video, and I hope that you enjoyed watching it half as much as I did making it, at least. Alas, I can't promise any sort of regular upload schedule. I just don't have the motivation or self-discipline to say I will be able to make one video per week consistently or anything like that. However, I did really enjoy making this video, and it gives me confidence that I will sort of keep making builds into the future, as long as you keep wanting to watch them, of course. So that was the video. I do really hope you enjoyed it, and I hope to see you again soon with hopefully another one not too far down the line. Peace.